Humility for the true creator isn't a burden, but I think it's a secret passageway to wonder. A soft, unguarded space where ego loosens its grip and the soul dares to listen. It's the quiet courage to stand before the blank page, the empty frame, the raw clay, and confess, I don't know everything, and that's why I'm here. Humility is the vital breath that keeps your art from becoming stale self-adoration. It lets you learn, receive, and be astonished again and again. Without it, the creator calcifies into a monument to themselves, brittle and breakable. But with humility, you stay supple, forever a student of beauty, of mystery, and grace. It's the key that unlocks the lifelong promise of creative fulfillment, the thrill of always becoming, never arriving. There's a lens that never makes it into my gear bag, yet without it, every image that I take, every word that I write, every frame that I compose, it comes out warped. It's invisible, but its absence is blinding. For me, this lens is humility. The creator's quiet backbone, the discipline that softens the glare of ego and lets the world come into true focus. Now let's talk about how to bow is to see. I think the humble creator doesn't strut into the scene demanding that the world bend to his vision. He kneels before it. He knows the light doesn't obey him. He knows that the moment is not his to control, but to receive. This doesn't mean he's timid or unsure. True humility isn't self-erasure. It's right-sizing. It's remembering, I am a steward, not a god. I'm a student, not the source. You see, when you bow, you listen, you wait. You see what the arrogant eye overlooks, the nuance, the softness, the in-between. The humility to stay curious opens up cracks in reality, little seams of wonder that pride never notices. Now let's talk about how ego is heavy and humility travels light. The ego wants every project to prove something. I matter. I'm better. I'm worth noticing. But this weight, it strangles the life out of our work. It turns our art into an audition instead of an offering. Humility, by contrast, I think, it strips off that excess armor. It lightens our creative stride. We can move freely. We can pivot when the project wants to surprise us, accept when it wants to fail, and adapt when we're called to reinvent ourselves. Over the decades, the humble creator stays nimble. They're not a relic stuck defending yesterday's relevance. They evolve. They apprentice themselves again and again to the craft, to the story, the scene, the song, the lens. Now let's talk about how humility keeps you close to the source. Here is the deeper magic. When you're humble, you stay connected to something bigger than yourself, whether you name it God, muse, spirit, or simply the pulse of inspiration. You remember that you're not manufacturing beauty out of your own genius alone. You're a participant in something wider, in something older. That realization, I think it keeps us grateful. I think it keeps us grounded and steady when the droughts come. Now let's talk about the practical advantages of humility for the creator. You want some hard benefits? Okay. The humble lens does way more than just make you feel good. It's extremely practical. For instance, it's teachable for life. You'll always look for mentors. You'll always look for feedback, for fresh eyes. Your skill never ossifies. And how about how it's failure proof? When your ego isn't glued to every piece, you bounce back faster from flops. And how about how criticism becomes fuel? You don't crumble when someone challenges your work. You refine it. And how about community magnet? Humble creators, they don't hoard the spotlight. They actually elevate others. This, of course, then attracts collaborations and keeps our circle healthy. And of course, playfulness returns. If your art doesn't have to prove you're worthy, you can experiment again. Some of our best work will come from that loose, humble play. And then there's more resilience over decades. I think ego-driven creators, I think they often burn out when the applause fades. I think humble ones keep making because they're not addicted to the roar. Now let's talk about how humility is the lifelong filter. Humility turns your entire life into a darkroom. Every experience, every failure, every triumph gets developed with honesty. You see what's really there, not what your ego wants to project. And when you see clearly, you create clearly. You pass on the light instead of hoarding it. You become an artist whose work ages like a fine vintage, deeper, more generous, more awake. Now let's talk about the way of the lens. In Bokeh Bushido, we talk about the way of the lens, this discipline of seeing the world and yourself with clarity. Humility is the quiet ritual that polishes that lens. You don't force the image, you invite it. You don't stand above the world, you stand among it, redemptive, curious, grateful. That's what makes the humble creator unstoppable. They never stop learning. They never stop bowing to the craft. Now go. Step into your next frame with open hands. Bend your knees before the light. Be a vessel, not a vessel's master. Let humility be the quiet filter that clarifies your vision when ego clouds the glass. See what wants to be seen. Capture what wants to be remembered. Release what wants to move through you. Create with humility, with wonder, and an unshakable trust that you're part of something far bigger than you could ever claim to own.